If you're thinking about buying, you've probably already started scrolling on Zillow. You might have peeked at prices, you might have even gone to an open house. But here's the truth, most first-time buyers and experienced buyers often start shopping before they're really ready to start buying a home. It's a mistake that costs time and money and peace of mind. And so in this video, I'm gonna walk you through exactly what it takes so you can be prepared. We're covering finances, paperwork, timeline, mindset, and we're going through the same checklist that I walk through with clients. If you click the link in the description below, you can access the free Buyer Toolkit that I've put together. By the end, you'll know where you stand and you'll know what your next step should be. If you want the full version of all this information, just click the link in the description. All right, so step one, let's start with credit score. One of the very first things that a lender looks at is your credit. In 2025, here are the general minimums. For an FHA, you need about 580 credit score with 3.5% down. For a conventional loan, you typically need a 620 credit score or higher. For VA loans, technically there's no minimum, but most lenders want to see about 600. But here's the key. Minimums help you qualify, but a better score helps you get a better deal. If you're at a 700 plus credit score, you'll get stronger rates, lower mortgage insurance, and you'll have more options. So right now, if you're under 600, don't panic. I've helped buyers purchase while improving credit along the way. It just means that your timeline and your strategy might look a little bit different. But trust me, it's worth it to do the work and stick with it and be strategic and start early. I think a great place to start is something like Credit Karma so that you can see about where your credit score is, but it's not an exact number. And I'm not a financial advisor, so if you don't understand a credit score, you definitely want to talk to somebody who's qualified to teach you how to build your credit. Now, step number 2 is you're going to have to prove your income. The lender doesn't just care how much you make, they care how stable it is. So if you're a W-2 employee, they're going to want 2 years of tax returns and most recent 30 days of pay stubs. If you're self-employed or 1099, then they'll want 2 full years of tax returns and sometimes they'll want a P&L or profit and loss statement. If you've just got a raise or switched jobs, that's okay. Just expect extra paperwork and some longer conversations with your lender to make sure that everything gets worked through. Step 3 is the down payment. You don't need 20% down to buy a home. Here's what you actually need. A conventional loan could be as low as 3% down. An FHA loan is 3.5% down, and for a VA or a USDA loan, often 0% down. So on a $300,000 home in Cincinnati, 3% down is $9,000. 3.5% down is $10,500. But remember, closing costs add another 2 to 5%. I did another video on all of the costs, so you probably should go watch that. But for most first-time buyers, anywhere between $15,000 to $25,000 is a solid target when you're factoring things in. There is some conversation about where it can come from, so let's cover that. It can come from savings, it can come from family gifts, it can come from a retirement account with certain conditions, and it can come from assistance programs. Cincinnati has some that we can look at. This is all stuff that we'll talk through with your lender, and they'll walk you step by step through the requirements. Step 4 is just get pre-approved. If you're going to look at houses, be pre-approved. We need to be pre-approved probably to look at houses, definitely to put an offer in. It would just save us time and energy if you get pre-approved. If you're serious about buying a house, you'll go ahead and do it. You're going to have to do it anyways. I can't tell you how many times I've had experienced home buyers that have purchased multiple homes come to me and they really don't have a solid idea of what they're working with. So you need to get with a lender, you need to look at your finances, and that will give us a really good starting point for what we can actually look at. Pre-approval usually takes 24 to 48 hours, so if you want to look at homes, you definitely should be getting pre-approved. In my experience, skip the big banks and go with a local lender who's easy to contact, who you can meet with, and discuss all of your options. If you rush this step, you're probably not considering all of your options. So do your diligence before you get excited and start looking at houses. All right, step 5 is understanding your debt to income ratio. So even if you make good money, your debt to income ratio can actually make or break your approval. Most lenders want your total monthly debt to be between 40 and 50% of your gross income. So here's a quick example, and again, these are just vague numbers, but if you make $5,000 a month and you pay $300 on student loans and $200 in car payments, there's a chance that you'll qualify between $1,500 and $2,000 for a monthly payment. And so you want to talk to your lender and have them look at your finances so you really have a good idea of what you're getting into. It's important to consider what you can be comfortable paying every single month. Step 6 is important. It's know your timeline. Most people wait way too long to get serious. They browse homes for months before talking to a lender or an agent. So here's my recommendation. If you're more than 6 months out, work on your credit, work on your savings, and get clear on what it is that you're really looking for. If you're 3 to 4 months out, definitely talk to a lender, get pre-approved, and connect with a realtor. And if you're 2 months out, you need to be actively touring homes, making offers, and preparing for closing. In Cincinnati, homes in the $200,000 to $400,000 range still move pretty quickly. It's better to be ready early than miss the house that you want. It also adds a ton of stress if you're not prepared and you don't have a plan. And it's a lot easier to make a poor decision when you're feeling rushed and when you're stressed out. All right, so step 7 is understanding the market. So even with higher rates and some shifts, Cincinnati market is still pretty tight on inventory, especially neighborhoods that are really popular. And so here's what that means. You need to be ready to move fast on a home if you're a buyer, especially if you really love the home. Don't expect super deep discounts unless it's been sitting for a while. Strong offers include flexibility on all of the other things in the contract. It's not just about purchase price. There might be other conditions that we can work with to make your offer appealing to the seller. My job is to help you understand the market and avoid overpaying and position your offer to win without giving up the protection and all of the stuff that's built into the system to protect you as the buyer. So we want to be smart and we want to set ourselves up to succeed. Okay, step 8 is to build your team. Don't think that you have to do this by yourself. You're gonna work with other people. And so if they just feel like strangers and they're not people that you can talk to, then the whole process feels a lot more lonely and you carry a lot more stress yourself. So work with people that you can talk to that will help you carry the burden and work through the process with you. These are the people that you're going to need to work with along the way. A local lender that you trust, and that's really important. A realtor who knows the neighborhoods and the market and knows the process. A home inspector who tells the truth. And I have had some ridiculous home inspections. I will not share those stories here, but if we meet in person, I would love to tell you some of the ridiculousness that I've seen. We have fantastic home inspectors that we've worked with that I really trust to just absolutely find everything wrong. It's actually hard for me as a realtor because sometimes you find a great house and inspections is scary. And I've had clients that are just freaking out at inspections, and sometimes you should, and other times, well, all of the time, you just have to stay calm and you have to be smart. It's really important to have a good inspector, and we have some that we've worked with here in Cincinnati that we love. We also have awesome title companies that we've worked with and other resources for you if you need help. Having the right team really makes a big difference. Once we're under contract, the contingencies are on a timeline. And so if we can't get what we need to get done within the timeline, that can compromise our position. And so it's really important to work with a team that you trust and that is going to work hard on your behalf and is going to get stuff done. And finally, step 9 is being emotionally ready. Most people skip over this, but it's really important. Buying a home isn't just financial, it's extremely emotional. You need to be prepared for decisions under pressure and the ups and downs of the offers and negotiations. And to be totally honest, the responsibility of homeownership is a big deal. Ask yourself, why am I buying? For stability, space, family, investment? If your why is solid, then it's going to drive you through all the ups and downs that we experience throughout the process. And there will definitely be ups and downs, and that's okay. I know this might feel like a lot, and that's because buying a home is a big step, but it doesn't have to be confusing. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. If you're interested in the free resources, click the links below. And if you want to meet with me, click below to schedule a time directly on my calendar. I'd love to talk. In those resources below, you'll find a checklist, a buyer toolkit, a relocation toolkit. There's a seller assessment that will help you know if you're ready to sell your house, if you're selling to buy. And if you can't find something, just reach out to me. I'd be happy to connect and provide any of those resources for you. And if you're still on the fence about buying a house, watch my next video. It's a buy versus rent comparison where I ask the question, is it really a good investment to buy a home? I'll see you there.